We made it through the burning part of town to Giggle's blacksmith shop. Turns out there was something for some elemental forge or whatever. We helped him light it, so we can make the Muppets go away. Then proceeded to give me 3 bars of adamantine. Then he sent us on our way. Now we went back to the ship, and now we get to have bunk mates. Find out what happens now on the next short quest long rest.
Press the button.
You did. As
boy.
did I.
Who's your good boy? Who's your boy?
Who's your good boy? Who's your good boy?
Stop patronizing me. I'm leaving.
Love it.
Taking my ball and going home.
I was about to say, great, but no, we need you.
Yep. Yeah, we're already down 1 person tonight, unfortunately.
Yes, but Adam is not going to be able to join us. He had a bit of an emergency at home.
Wish him the best.
Wish him the best. In the meantime, let's do a recap of how things went the last time. You arrived in the port city of Fireshear, where you were met on the docks by a well-dressed woman in a wolf fur, calling herself Kalanai Greyfur. She greeted you warmly, recognizing the icebreaker out in the bay, warned you to avoid the eastern half of town because there had been an outbreak of mephits, and when she discovered who you were delivering your package to and that they actually resided on that side of town, suggested you employ a bit of extra help. Maybe not necessarily some muscle, but somebody who was looking for work who might be of use to you. Entering into a nearby sort of public house, you met a warforged by the name of Dreamer. Proved to have some magical capabilities. Heading eastward into town, you were assaulted by a trio of magma mephits that gave the party a bit of a hard time, but you ultimately overcame them and made your way
just a little bit
to the forge of a very eccentric Durgar inventor, a man named Griggle, who was very hard to get the attention of initially, and then after you found it was hard to sometimes even get him to stay on subject for long, or to recall what was threatening the town around him while his forge remained untouched.
Yeah, he had no friggin' clue what the hell was going on, little shit.
There's mephits out there!
Yeah, exactly. He's lucky we didn't turn him in.
Oh, man.
Anyways, proceed.
But, so, it turns out Griggle was working on a elemental forge, and that he needed your assistance. He had been delivered a letter with instructions that would make his research go a little faster, but required a certain set of ingredients to complete the ritual that had been scribbled down for him. Things like he needed solid water and samples of powdered earth, essentially dust and ice and the like. You helped him, had no more trouble with mephits, and when it came time to leave, and you were rewarded for those that you had killed, did not give up the inventor to Kalanai Greyfur. Loaded back on the ship, you find yourselves sailing northwest along the coast. I actually have a map for you there, which I made visible earlier, but I'll show it again just the same.
Hooray!
Leaving the town of Fireshear in a northwestern direction, you find yourself traveling for several days over open water we had discussed after the session doing some downtime on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that as you currently sail into the port of Aurillsbarg, it is night. It is cold. The mountains have, over the last day or so, slowly risen into view on the island first, before you even saw any of the coastline, particularly the highest of those distant mountains on the northern end called the Ice Peak. The city itself is nothing to raise your nose at. A port settlement of a type that, being this far north, out of the regular trade ports, not particularly large. About 3,000 people or so. The town tends to weather harsh snow and sleet for most of the months of the year. And those of you who are sailors, you know who I speak of, know that from Aurillsbarg,
Yeah, dreamer.
come the like of furs, whale blubber, packaged fish. It is really no more than a far-flung colony of the captains of Luskin. But as you draw into Aurillsbarg Harbor late at night, the captain brings together the majority of the crew, and in a very booming voice, orders that you are to wait on board until morning as they sail into the port and set up on one of the docks. You, being gathered on the main deck amidst about 20 or so sailors who are all milling about, hear a couple of those nearest you murmuring about how, once it's late enough, they'll probably be maybe not abiding by that command. Aurillsbarg is, wouldn't necessarily say renowned for its drinking holes and gambling dens, but it is certainly better than remaining on ship overnight. I will ask, as those of you who are gathered up on deck hear this announcement, to remain on board until morning, and the others discussing heading out onto the shore, what you guys intend to do, whether you imagine you'll be returning to your cabins or finding other entertainment for the evening.
Safe to say it's the latter. There's no way he's staying on that ship. He is so bored. It's just days at sea. He cannot stay on that ship for another night. He can't do it. So, regardless of what his good buddies are gonna do, he is going off that ship.
Nice. Yeah, I think Rian would also try to, if anything, to keep an eye on Grin. Just because who knows what trouble he could get into out there by himself, so... And Miri could use some fresh air, as opposed to being cooped up in a cabin.
Yeah, I will say, over the past week or so, your young bronze dragon has... It's strange. When you first found her, locked away in a trunk, hardly longer than your two hands put, heel together, she's now significantly larger, even larger than she was a few days ago. Approaching that size where she's no longer as long as a small cat, but is approaching small dog size.
My little baby's growing up.
Definitely growing up at a alarming pace for, something that was absolutely just could hold in your two hands when you first found her. It is a tight fit in the pack in which she is currently hidden, squirming on your back, complaining very softly through the fabric of the tight squeeze. But the rest of the crew disperses to go about their orders for the night, some descending below deck in order to retire to their cabins, some remaining on watch above, others eyeballing the gangplank, and the two sailors sort of set up to watch it for the night. And then just kind of mill about for a bit before themselves heading below deck. What about the rest of you?
Yeah, I'm probably sticking with Grin, so whatever he's doing. How about, what are you doing, Dreamer?
Where is the captain?
The Oh, are you asking them or?
Yeah, is that in character? It sounded like in character.
It sounded like it was in character.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
I'll step back. You guys do your thing.
I think he's Grin's laying on his bed at this point, just kind of throwing an arcane crystal into the air and catching it. He's just so bored.
So we would just be like sitting in the doorway of your room,
or
in the room. I mean, it's big enough. It's like 2 people, right? It can fit 2 people, so you could probably.
Yeah, it's essentially it is enough standing room for about 2 or 3 people who are very close to one another, and bunks.
He's up there somewhere. He just kind of points up.
I imagine he's probably in his cabin. Why, you want to go talk to him or something?
Why does he wish us to stay on the ship?
I don't know, but I'm not going to do it.
Well, it might have something to do with the little bit of information, or what, Krellick there. I'm assuming we're just pretending he's sleeping.
I would say Krellick is currently in the other cabin at this time, was feeling, I will say, not the best, is laid up for the evening, having retired early.
Gotcha. Well, wasn't that long ago that Krellick happened to catch a little sight of a body going over the side of the ship. It brought to the captain's attention, but so far we haven't heard hide nor hair of it since, so I'd imagine it might have something to do with that. He might be continuing his investigation, or it might just be trying to keep his men from getting in too much trouble.
Perhaps we should have let the assassin kill him. I wouldn't have to listen to him saw logs all night.
Look, we're not... I think you'd even laugh at that. You'd just feel like, oh, jeez. You know, you try to act like you're a bad guy, Grin, but I know you don't mean that.
No, I do. I do mean it. He snores like a particularly congested wildebeest.
Yeah, I've heard it. That's why I chose to room with Dreamer here. It's silent as a mouse.
It's horrific, really. It is.
Oh, you gonna be alright there, big guy?
I mean, I need my beauty rest.
Okay. Well, don't you have a sleep spell or something you can cast on yourself?
I do.
Well, then you just do that. Don't worry about it, see?
That's a waste of a spell slot.
Yeah, but then you're sleeping.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
What's a spell slot?
But you get it after a long rest. It's a win-win.
Yes. That isn't the point. I'm just saying that I would not be opposed to switching roommates.
No, that's fine. Don't you worry about it. Me and Dreamer got a good thing going on.
Oh, good.
Miri loves her.
Good for you.
Loves him.
Also, your problem seems to be growing at an exponential rate.
Yeah, she's getting to be a big girl there, aren't you, Miri? He kind of tickles her chin a little bit, and she's got her head up over his shoulder.
Yeah. She actually crawls up from your shoulder and, stretching her wings a little, hops onto that upper bunk.
Nice.
It just seems to, while you guys are having your conversation, be bouncing from the upper bunk, gliding to your shoulder and back again, like a bored child running around the room.
That's awesome. I think he just grin as he watches her do it, kind of like just almost proud. But
speaking of her, why do you continue to try to hide her?
Because she's a dragon, Dreamer.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but she's not just she's a dragon. She's a metallic dragon. Unfortunately, they're worth a lot of money. And the wrong person sees her and might try to take her from me. That's not happening.
It's also particularly snarky.
You don't have to talk about me like I'm not here.
Sorry, honey. I apologize.
She just kind of sticks her nose up and goes back to bouncing back and forth between your shoulder and the upper bunk.
But yeah, so it's for her and our protection. That's why I tried to keep her hidden as much. I know it won't last much longer, but I'm hoping we can at least make it to Icewind Dale. I just don't know how the captain would react if he found out I brought a dragon aboard.
Yes, wait till we get to Icewind Dale, where all the criminals go to live.
Yeah, I get that, but at least it's a nice open area, and I don't have someone who's literally can just kick me off their ship into the middle of freezing water. At least I have some terra firma underneath me in Icewind Dale.
Fair point.
You can swim.
Yes.
Well, I can swim.
You can swim fantastically, and I can swim also.
He
but
can swim.
Frigid water is a little difficult for me, honey.
He can swim
Until he
for
Can we go
freezes.
for a swim?
about 0.2 seconds before he goes rigid.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, if I went swimming, I'd probably die, honey. But maybe if we can find ourselves a little outlet or something along outside tonight, you can go for a little dip.
I mean, it's dark now.
Yep, and I think we're gonna try to. If I know Grin, we're probably getting off this ship here in a little bit, but so we'll work on that, honey.
Do you float?
Just be patient, please.
Dreamer? Maybe we could use him as a raft.
Kind of raises an eyebrow, looks at him like, "Do you float?"
He's
not big enough, and he like shakes his head. He's like, "He's not big enough to
just
hold on."
smiling broadly at this point.
Yeah. Brian actually considered it for a second. He's like, maybe we could. No, he's not even big enough. That's not.
He'll sit up on the bed and kind of wrap his knuckle on your leg, Dreamer. Is it hollow?
No.
Oh, well, guess not.
Yeah, he seems a little dense.
Yes, in more than one way.
I didn't mean it like that.
I did.
Dreamer experiences a microaggression.
Yes.
Nice.
You're a nice enough fellow, Dreamer. But yes, I am going to be getting off this ship tonight.
Yeah, I assumed. As soon as the captain actually made a comment about anyone doing anything, I assumed you'd be doing the opposite. So.
He was shaking his head while you were saying the words. He's like, no. I mean, you're welcome to come with if you insist. But don't cramp my style.
Cramp your style. Okay. I'll do my best, okay? I will do my best not to cramp your style.
Appreciate it.
What's your plan? You know how we're getting off the ship? We're docked, right?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so we can...
It's a very weird experience because the ship, for the past week or more, it's been rocking back and forth on the open ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Very smooth, predictable shifts when you're out on the open sea. Something that you're familiar with, actually, but that the others, like our dear friend Krellick, are not as experienced with.
Seasick. I can't imagine the state of his beard right now.
Oof, I don't even want to think about that. It's disgusting.
It's worse than normal.
I guess technically you got your wish. He's crashed in my room right now, so it looks like Dreamer's probably staying in here tonight.
Well, I am thankful for that. But let's see about getting off this ship.
Yes.
He's gonna push himself up, grab his backpack, and head up.
Alrighty.
I didn't do a rest for Miri last time, so she still had no hit dice. Or 1 hit dice.
Felgren, do you care for spiders?
I don't not care for them.
Perfect. And I'm going to wild shape into a spider and cling on to Felgren.
Oh.
Alright.
Say
I think that would Rian would immediately be like, Jesus, oh my god, what was that? Oh god, oh.
It probably looks like he just disappears for a second.
I'm like, oh, what? Oh, you have to warn somebody. I didn't even know you could do that. Oh god.
Look at the state of him. He's half wood. You couldn't make that connection?
No, that doesn't... I've only seen 3 Warforged in my life. I didn't think he could turn into a spider.
No, he's just acting like he knew. He had no idea.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, Adrian's just like, I don't... No!
See, the way to...
No, I haven't...
The way to preface that question, Dreamer, to ask if I like spiders crawling on me, which I do not.
So, Lando, do you want to describe what your unable to speak spider looks like?
Well, if you look close enough, it looks like it's made of the same materials as Dreamer, where the legs are the dark brown, spindly, fibrous material. But then the abdomen and the head all have the iron plates that are rusty still.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
And what do you do now that you're a spider?
Creep people out.
I crawl onto Felgren and I just chill.
Nice. Just straight on his back. How big are you?
I probably would have picked something small, like a daddy long leg.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Oh, okay. It's just a tiny little thing. I was thinking
Oh, he's cute.
foot by foot radius type thing, just this giant spider
just
on his back.
Big hairy tarantula.
Yeah, but wooden and metal. I guess that wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, so, Felgrin, a small spider with very unusual appearance, definitely nothing you've ever seen, comes skittering across the floor towards you, and if you allow it, crawls up your pants leg and stops about, around where your component pouch would be.
I quickly step on him.
He'll just open the pouch. He's like, don't touch anything.
Do you really try to step on him?
No, I'm absolutely not. I'm joking. I just crush him. They're like, well, roll up a new character.
Don't want a strong gust of wind sending you flying, do we?
Tuck myself in.
He'll snap it shut.
Fuck.
No, just in pure darkness. The only character that doesn't have dark vision.
Sit tight.
So it's really very strange inside this bag, Dreamer. Some small vials, a few odds and ends, the sort of things that a budding sorcerer or other caster would have to reach for their components. You're familiar with spell components, so it's not terribly unfamiliar to you. It is the scale at which you're now viewing them that is a little disarming.
Just a casserole of smells in there. Like, it's gotta be a lot.
That's a great way to say that. A casserole of smells.
A casserole of odors.
Yes.
Oh, that is so good.
Thank you. A wordsmith.
Yeah, they should have sent a poet.
Yes. So I think we would, I guess, head up to the deck, see what we're looking at.
Yeah.
All right. So for the second time this evening, emerging out onto the deck, and you find that it is much less populous than it was about an hour before when the captain was making his announcement. Just as there had been when you were out on the open sea, there are watchmen doing a rotation around the deck. However, on the open ocean, it tended to be just two men, circling opposite one another. As they are now in port, and the danger is greater of someone coming aboard in the dead of night, there are now 4 men patrolling at regular intervals. And as you come topside and the cold wind that is blowing down off those high mountains on the island hits your face, you get a scent of pine and of cold. Cold is a very prevalent thing here in the north, and it carries its own smell. It is so intense. You do also detect the odors of a town. That's going to be wood smoke, cooking foods, the sounds of conversation and laughter. It's about 9 in the evening. And the moon is not quite directly overhead. It's still rising to its midnight point. But it is beautiful and full. On this night, it is dim light everywhere you look. So you are able to see quite a bit further, even in darkness, than you are used to.
Excellent.
There.
Yeah.
In addition to the 4 men patrolling the deck, there are a pair of very bored-looking sailors who are just kind of leaning at the top of the ramp, looking from their pacing fellows out over the dock stretching towards the town. And as you watch, you see a sailor in, striped shirt, kind of a skinny guy, approach these 2 watchmen, exchange some quiet words, seem to trade something, passing from one hand to another, and this individual walks down the gangplank towards the town with a bit of a farewell there as he reaches the end of the dock to his buddies on the ship. What are you guys doing?
Don't want to pay them.
Well, to keep this nice and up, I have no problem with it. So I want to keep track of that.
Experiment.
Grin.
Just saying.
How come every time you talk, I just feel like the worst things in the world?
Because you're a wet blanket, Rian.
Perhaps there might be some truth to that. But okay, well, I'll at least entertain you. What do you have?
I think he would just...
What are we experimenting
He
with?
would just kind of turn it. Are the sails unfurled?
I gotta imagine no.
They're furled.
Okay.
The ship is not going anywhere. They're not going to leave their sails flapping in the wind.
Okay. I think he would just kind of turn and look at it and snap his fingers and cast Minor Illusion. And he's going to make it start as a spark. And then just on the mast, which grows into just a roaring flame that's traveling up the mast.
Oh god. And you're like, oh gee, like quietly, he's like in hush, he's just like, oh god.
Isn't
what
it
did you
great?
do? No, what did you do? Did you just light the mast on fire?
Oh, just calm down. Everything will be fine.
No, did you just
So
light the mast
I
on
will
fire? We
say-
need to ride in this ship.
As Minor Illusion is a cantrip, it is difficult, to say the least, to make a moving image. I want you to roll me a Arcana check with this.
Oh good, maybe I don't have to freak out. It's just a frozen still of like a shitty cardboard cutout of a fire, just sitting up there.
Arcana check. I'm not very good at that.
How you gonna be a sorcerer?
I will say, oh, hold on, because you're charisma
Yeah, it's
based.
an intelligence skill. So
Oh.
Give me a charisma check with your proficiency modifier.
just like a
I guess. Yeah, your spellcasting ability.
Let's see how creative he can get with it.
a saving throw or a check. Okay.
Yeah, just a straight up check. Nicely done. So, for someone who is familiar with illusions, to you, it looks janky.
Could have been better.
For the sake of somebody who's like familiar with video games, think of pixelated fire, where it's just very rapidly switching from one form of the image to the other to give it the perception of flickering flame. Covers about a 5 to 5 foot square as it travels up the mast, and to the casual observer, first, one of the roving watchmen who's starting to pass you kind of looks up startled at this sudden source of fire. And it's very strange because it doesn't give off as much light or even any heat as you would expect a fire of that size to give off. Yet they seem fooled. And he goes, "Ah! Ah!" And he starts pointing and shouting, "Fire! Fire on the upper deck!" And all the other watchmen are suddenly scrambling to put out the flames. One of them is racing below deck. One of them is going to the captain's door and starts banging on
During
it.
that whole chaos, he's just casually walking towards the gangplank.
Yeah, the two guards who were at the gangplank are immediately just like at the foot of the mast, like, "You climb up there. No, you climb up there." Trying to figure out what the fuck they do and where the hell the source of this fire came from. The way is clear.
Well, are you coming or not?
Ah, damn it. Okay, let's go. Dreamer, come on, buddy. We gotta go. Like,
He's in the pouch.
he like grabs Dreamer
He's
like,
in the
by the back,
pouch.
kind of.
He's in the pouch.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, so, Dreamer, you within the pouch are hearing very muffled and shouts of alarm. Are you doing anything?
Nope.
As soon as they're as soon as they're walking safely down the dock, he'll just kind of wave his hand in a blasé manner and dispel the illusion.
And it's really very strange because as you are reaching the end of the pier and getting far enough away to where your spell would have almost dropped naturally had you not disabled it, the cries of fire and the shouting, and you even hear now the captain's groggy voice
God.
shouting over the others, seems to be replaced with confusion. And you hear the captain say, "Someone get up there and check that it's not causing any more damage. Get me an idea of where that fire came from."
Illusions are terribly useful, Rian.
Oh,
I had
this
you,
guy
didn't
probably-
I?
Oh, yeah, you
He's-
did. I thought you burned down our
He's
ship.
just grinning now.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was really cute.
No, thank
But,
you.
you know, it probably would have cost us like a couple of silver to get off the ship.
Yes,
like, honestly.
well, that's silver.
It's not like these guys get paid really well.
That's silver we can gamble with now.
He just sighs, like, okay, let's get let's just move inland a little bit, so we're not within viewing distance of the ship, so the captain doesn't look over the railing and see us idiots standing here talking about how clever we are.
Well, I'm glad you finally admitted how clever I am.
Oh yeah, here. That's just never mind. Let's just
Yes,
let's just
go.
Let's go. Oh my god.
So
Alright.
tight.
So, traveling through the darkened streets, and then, it's 9 o'clock at night or so, there's still traffic. Not a lot, because it is terribly cold up here. But enough that you can kind of get an idea of where most people are heading. Those who are staying near the dock district seem to be making for, the brightly lit drinking holes and public houses here on the main thoroughfare. I will ask, what are you guys doing first here on shore leave?
Drink?
I'm going to try to crawl out of the pouch.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. Probably feels it jostling a little. He'll unsnap it.
Once
Come
I'm
on,
out,
Ad.
I'll just drop it, and I'm certain no one's watching.
All right. So, as you are heading up the sort of dimly lit street, and again, moon high overhead, there are some shadows. The buildings certainly cast them, even in the moonlight. But the main stretch that you're on is dimly lit, and when a Warforged suddenly appears in the darkness, there are a handful of people that kind of do a double take. Most of them kind of just rub their eyes and seem to brush it off as a strange occurrence, maybe something to do with the moon or how dark it is.
We'll paint a portrait, it'll last longer.
I'll wave. Hello, friend.
I can just see like that robot wave just at the elbow.
There is one woman who seems to be passing you that you wave at, who just kind of...
She faints.
No, she just... She looks a little taken aback and kind of does the stretching out her neck and squinting at you as if trying to figure out what the fuck she just saw, and then marches on, going about her evening business.
Yeah, Rian just sighs. He's just like, oh, I should have chosen my companions better.
Oh, yes. Says the man with a dragon in his backpack.
That's the point I'm making. Is
Well, you didn't say it to her, you said it to us, didn't you?
that's not. I'm trying to keep her safe, and it's when you got a tiefling in a warforge, people tend to look a lot more.
Oh,
I-
wow.
I-
Okay. Let's see how it
I'm
is.
Oh, stop it! You know I didn't mean it like that.
I can't help how I look.
Exactly, you dreamer. He makes a fine...
I got turned on me real
makes
fast.
a fine point. Us, Tiefling and Warforged, deal with enough discrimination without you coming down on us, our supposed friend.
He's just like shaking his head. He's just like, okay, I'm going to go find a place for Miri to take a little swim. You guys go ahead to the tavern, and I'll catch up.
Just looks at Dreamer, shakes his head.
Yeah, real funny. He just
Come on, let's go get a drink. Can you drink, physically? He says as they walk away.
I don't need to, but I can.
Oh, well, good. Let's go get a lot of drinks, then.
Alright. I will say, Rian, if you want to give me a survival check to go kind of find a nice isolated spot here in town
The good
that
thing about
Miri
that
might go
is-
diving in.
because I have no bonuses in that.
You gonna go Polar Bear Club?
Oh, natty 15, not bad.
Alright.
Kablamo.
So, with your backpack squirming, now that Miri is aware that you're out and about town, no longer confined to the ship, and she can smell, the sea a little better now that she's not stuck below decks, takes you about 10 or 15 minutes or so, and you find, at this time, an unoccupied dock. Actually, within sight of the icebreaker, where you can see that there are now lanterns on the deck and a bunch of people milling about.
He's just like shaking his head and sighing, like, oh, now I got to sneak back on. This is going to be a pain in the ass.
It's a few 100 yards off,
Uh-huh.
so no one's gonna see you or disturb you out here. This particular dock that you're in front of does seem to be battered and worn. The end of it is splintered, as if a ship had maybe gotten a little too close and sheared off the end, which is why it is not in use. And crawling out of your backpack, your young bronze dragon companion hardly sits on your shoulder for a few seconds before she is hopping and gliding along the ground towards the water.
Yeah, I think he would just encourage her. He'd be like, have fun, honey. I'd kind of just walk up to the edge and maybe sit with my feet kind of dangling off the... As long as it's not in the water. Obviously don't want to put my feet in the water, but like, just sit and watch her do her thing.
It is icy, and even as you're looking out here on the moonlit night, you can see chunks of ice floating in the bay. Miri goes diving right in, does not seem to care one whit for how cold it is on this evening. And after she spends about a minute down, when she comes bobbing back up, sitting on the water like a duck, you can almost see the steam coming off her. I really needed this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't like keeping you cooped up, but, you know, it's a ship, and I just want you to be safe. So, you know, it's just, I appreciate you. You've been a good girl. You know, just we keep our head down for a little longer. Unfortunately, you're getting big, so I won't be able to hide you much longer, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Give me enough time, I'll be able to fly over that bridge.
Yes, you will. And
I was practicing in the cabin.
I saw that. You were doing a great job. I'm very proud of you. And so you're stretching your wings and you're learning to fly, and we're gonna... One day you'll soar as high as any bird, any dragon, for that matter.
Yeah, excuse me, I'm not a bird.
I know.
And with that, she kind of very indignantly dives under the water again, and very briefly, you see, before she goes too deep, how this young dragon propels herself, which is essentially using those wings like fins to pull herself along, moving with as much speed on land as she does cutting through the water. While the pair of you are doing that, the other two, as the dragon and his companion part to find a spot for her to stretch and get some exercise, find yourselves walking along this main thoroughfare, following the foot traffic, and sure enough, you see a sign that is what looks to be a tankard, a wooden tankard, on a wooden sign, the rim of it frosted over and icicles hanging from the handle. Underneath are the printed words, the frosted flagon.
Seems like a charming place.
Sure.
Excellent. He'll hold over the door.
As you enter, you find it is not a charming place.
Nice.
Rustic, maybe?
There are about half a dozen tables, most of them full. The bar, absolutely crowded. Seems to be a bunch of barflies with the crusty, leathery skin of sailors. Very much patchwork beards. One guy's got an eye patch that he's seems to have drawn in chalk an eye upon. The man behind the counter just kind of briefly raises a hand in greeting, a mustachioed human with a big black handlebar mustache and an apron that has seen better days down his front. Altogether, it is very clear this place is busy. There is a card game going on in the back corner towards the rear, and a door in the far back wall through which you can see some people passing in and out on occasion. What are you guys doing?
Approach the bar. Wants a drink.
I will follow.
So, as you approach the bar with your warforged companion sort of stalking along behind, the two of you are getting odd looks.
Shocking.
It isn't just the warforged in this situation. You only see one other tiefling who seems to be at the card game in the back. And everyone else that is here in town just seems to be kind of giving you the double take. One of the men, the barflies, that you sort of nestle yourself between to order a drink, kind of props his elbow up on the bar, and he's sitting there with his shot glass ready to his lips. He's just kind of staring at you from about a foot away. Can I help you?
The barfly says that?
The barfly says this, not the bartender who is currently in conversation with somebody else on the far end of the bar.
No, you can't.
Good answer. He wants a drink. You obviously can't.
You a devil like and he points to the other tiefling in the room at the far back.
It's not the preferred nomenclature. But I'm a tiefling, yes.
Preferred what?
Term. Is that...
Right.
Hmm?
And he just kind of turns to face the other direction to speak to the man on his left now.
Good. Oh. Glad I don't have to deal with that halitosis anymore.
Very briefly, you see his head start to like turn over his left shoulder to look at you again, with that same confused look that he gave when you provided the first word that he didn't understand. But returns to his conversation with his pal, and about a minute or so later, the mustachioed barman comes back, and he's cleaning a glass with a rag and slaps it over his shoulder and puts the glass down on the counter behind the bar. What can I get you?
I suppose it would be wishful thinking to ask if you had wine.
I mean, I carry it. And he turns around, and there are several kegs along the back counter, each of them with a tap that is very obviously used. They kind of slap them onto a new one, pry it out, etc. But there are a couple of different shelves of alcohol, all of them in relatively good repair and appearance. And then at the very tippy top is the slender, dusty shape of a wine bottle. We don't often get wine. You must be new.
Yes, that's right.
It's called the Flagon for a reason. But I can provide that wine.
You can put it in a flagon if you wish, as long as it's wine.
I like your style.
Thank you. It's a charming place.
Bottle or glass? Sorry. Flagon.
Yes. He just kind of smiles. Flagon.
Right.
Oh, and could you tell me what's going on back there? He points to the back room.
He kind of glances over his shoulder towards the door at the back, and then looking you dead in the eye. What do you mean? Nothing going on back there?
Oh. Well, forgive me, I must have been seeing things.
I mean, there's the card game.
Perfectly on the up and up, I'm sure.
Absolutely, I run a very clean establishment.
Absolutely, yes. Well, fair enough, thank you.
Let me get you that wine. That'll be 2 gold.
Steep.
And your friend there? And he kind of looks at Dreamer over your shoulder.
Well, Dreamer?
He just sort of points at whatever the barfly was drinking.
He just takes the barfly's drink. I'll have this.
Well,
The barfly had a shot of almost like a red-orange amber colored liquid, and there is only a single bottle with that on the very lowest shelf above the kegs. And as you point to it, the barman kind of goes, right, I can certainly cover you there. Right, let me climb up there, get that flagon of wine going. And he draws over a stool, climbs up it, retrieves the bottle, which, as he is pulling it to him, kind of has to blow off the dust on it and wipe away the dust from a label that is very clearly peeling off this bottle from just, age. It's yellowed and starting to come up off the glass. Climbs down, takes a wooden flagon, puts it on the counter in front of you, and starts filling it while looking at you expectantly for that 2 gold that he said he required, and a silver for your friend.
Ooh, steep. Don't worry, Dreamer. This one's on me. So 2 gold and 2 silver, yes?
Yes, and let's see. I will say... Oh, no, you only have... Never mind. You're fine. Carry on. But, Dreamer, not terribly familiar with the, inner workings of a port city or a dive like this, but you are actually pretty perceptive when it comes to people, and you get the feeling that this bartender is being just a little too blasé with his prices. What do you do with that?
Would I have noticed anyone else getting that drink and how much they were paying?
I would say you arrived after the barfly that sort of antagonized your friend ordered. So no, you have not seen him exchanging for the same drink. You do, however, see that as he is climbing back down the ladder, a second sort of bartender is working. Someone, a much younger man, but with the same dark hair as the mustachioed one who's currently up the ladder. And he pours a drink from the same shelf for somebody about 2 stools down from where you're currently standing. And they only exchange a handful of coppers.
That's a lot of money for a drink.
You know,
That man over there only paid a few coppers.
yes.
Well, he's, I mean, this is the going rate for people who are new in town.
I'll just sort of lean closer. That's not how you get returning customers.
Are you going to be sailing into port anytime soon? I know the type.
Absolutely.
Roll me a deception
Yeah.
check.
I was like,
I have a
get
feeling,
away with
I
that
have a
one.
feeling he's just so bad at deception.
oh god, I'm sure. I don't know. Don't. Oh no, they're wisdom based, aren't they?
Papa!
Oh my goodness gracious.
Dude, that one.
Oh,
That's a
natty one.
Nat one.
That's a botch.
Fail.
Oh boy.
Oh, critical fail. Oh.
The mustachioed barman gives you a very skeptical look. Right. You're gonna be back.
Coming into port. Yup.
So it was 2 gold and a silver.
How about this? How about 2 gold and a silver buys us a tab?
A tab.
Yes, few drinks. Each.
Roll me persuasion on that one.
Yeah. Get after it, buddy.
Well, this is where I'm gonna...
I would say at disadvantage because of Dreamer's utter failure
Fucking
to convince him that you would actually be back.
Okay.
Nice.
Wow!
Now let's see what the other one is.
That's disadvantage. No,
No,
I
he did roll at disadvantage.
Oh, it does. Oh, that's right. It has the option to do disadvantage.
Yeah,
The
on
other
the
one was a nat 20.
Yeah.
It was a nat. Oh my god, it was a nat 20 and a nat 19.
No, it's a 13 plus
Oh
6.
no, nat 13. Gotcha. Plus 6. Still, that's awesome.
All right.
Plus
So-
6.
So he's a charming man.
Yeah, what a charmer, and it's certainly noticed as you kind of smooth back your hair some around your horns and lean in to convince the barkeep to open a tab. Kind of hems and haws for a moment, and then he glances along either side of the bar to his barflies, a couple of which are currently leaning over and following the conversation the way that people do when they're just unashamed of openly staring. And he goes, well, I can't, let my reputation for being a good host, especially to a couple of strangers, be on the line. I apologize
Oh,
for my, earlier haste. Yes, let's open a
of
tab.
course. And it's really no worry. I appreciate you being so welcoming.
And he just kind of raises his eyebrows and pushes the drinks towards you and goes back to his conversation at the end of the bar with the one of the
We'll
barflies.
just slap the bar top and look at Dreamer. See, that went well, didn't it?
Sure.
We gotta work on your form, Dreamer. He kind of grips your shoulder. You're so large, you can use that.
I'm very rusty.
Yes, but that doesn't matter. You're large and frightening, strange. Those are all tools you can use.
It didn't work.
No, not this time, but stick with me and I'll show you how it's done.
Sounds fun.
Good. Now let's go make some gold.
All right. So while the pair of you are doing that, switching back to Rian and Miri, your young draconic companion has been diving for a while, and you've had a good long time, about 20 minutes or so since you arrived, to observe matters on the deck of the icebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a lot of the lanterns have gone out. People have kind of calmed down. There does seem to be more people rotating on the deck on watch.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, well... Yeah, he's just looking at it like, oh, see, this is why it is like 3 copper. I bet you it's like 3 copper. We'd have just waltzed down that thing and then waltzed right back when we were done. And now we have to sneak on with half a dozen people wandering on the deck. Okay.
With a most likely drunk sorcerer.
Yes, with a... yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure that does appear to him. And I think he kind of turns around and looks over the city and looks at the boat. But I think he takes note of... You said there's like one giant mountain kind of sticking up, right? The ice peak?
Yes.
Okay. I think he kind of takes note of that and like kind of squints at it for a second and like... He's like, huh. It's like, that looks like one lonely mountain. And then but then kind of brushes it off for a second. And... Because that was one of our deliveries, was to find a man on a lonely mountain that had a cold ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he would try to wrangle Miri and go catch up, because I think even though he's like he's had this moment to like a reprieve with just watching Miri swim and stuff, and it's very lighthearted and he loves it, but he's still got this anxiety in the back of his head of what the hell's Grim doing.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, just like, oh, because if he's not there, he's just like, he's afraid he's gonna walk into a bar on fire. And
it's a young man, he's sowing his wild oats. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he'd try to wrangle Mary, but like, come on, honey, it's about time that we need to get back and hopefully not have to put out any actual fires or metaphorical.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Okay. Nice.
20?
Yep.
Alright.
20 on the die. Well, 18 on the die, plus 2.
As she bobs up to the surface and you kind of are like, hey, we need to get going, gives you a very, very reluctant look, but does paddle over, and you can see her tail moving along the surface, sort of steering her as her wings are stretched out to either side, helping her balance in the waves that are sort of bobbing here at the end of the dock. She tries once to scramble up the wooden post of the pier, and you can hear her claws scrabbling on the wood, and then, below you, sort of out of sight on the pier, there is a splash as she sort of falls back down. Damn. Tries again, you hear the scrabbling of small claws, and you see her head kind of poking up over the edge of the pier, and a small taloned claw sort of reaching up over the side to haul herself up.
Yeah, I think he just chuckled. Like, well, did you have a good swim, my dear?
I really needed that.
That's good. Yeah, well, hopefully when we get to Icewind Dale and find a nice place to settle down, you can swim all the time.
It's all gonna be frozen up there, huh?
It is going to be quite cold, but it doesn't seem to bother you much.
No. And she kind of shakes her head, and coming up to stand beside you, her head only comes up to about your knee.
Okay.
Gives herself a dog-like shake and flicks out her wings. You do get a little bit of salty spray on your face, but it's nothing that you're unfamiliar with, cold as it is. She scrambles up your body. You do feel that she is icy cold, but it does not seem to bother her one bit as she coils up on your shoulder and wraps that tail around your neck to keep her balance.
Nice. Like, okay, well, you can ride on my shoulder until we see some people, but then we need to get you in the backpack, okay? Hopefully I can I'm gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do when you're too big for that backpack, but just for now, okay?
I promise I will go and hide.
Good girl. And he'll start making his way to figure out where the hell the other two went.
Making his way downtown.
All right. So, Miri spends about as much time as she can possibly justify out on your shoulder before the approaching voices of people have her scrambling into your pack. Takes you about 10-15 minutes of walking the main stretch to see a wooden sign of a flagon, its rim frosted with ice and icicles hanging from the handle. The words, the frosted flagon, printed beneath. And as this is the first tavern on this stretch that you've seen, you walk inside and sure enough, stepping away from the bar with a couple of drinks are Felgrin and Dreamer. Dreamer with a small shot glass that looks absurdly tiny in his hand.
His giant hands. That is awesome.
I love it. He's just, I imagine he's just holding it very awkwardly, like thumb and index finger, like
it's tiny.
Thumb and index
tiny fingers.
like a little.
We're drinking.
Oh god.
Yeah, I think Rian would walk in and just kind of like look around and see the bar is still intact, and just be like, huh. Well, all right, okay. Make his way over to the gentleman. Like, so I see you guys haven't burned the place down yet. That's good.
It was fake fire.
Yeah, but I have a good feeling that you're only a bad day away from a real fireball there, eh?
Depends on your definition of bad day. He just kind of drinks from his flagon of wine.
Yeah, big old flagon of wine. Be like, oh hell, well, I might as well get a drink too. He hops up to the.
By the way, he will try to overprice the drinks if he knows you're from out of town. So act like you're not.
It's good advice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go gamble.
You try. Nah, have fun.
He just walks away.
Alright. So while Felgrin is walking off to, I assume, towards the card table in the back.
Oh, yes.
Alright, what is Dreamer doing? Sort of caught between the two of these options.
I will take the third option.
Alright, what are you doing?
The road less traveled.
What's going on in the back?
In the door towards the back.
Yeah, that's where Felgrin's going.
Felgrin was, heading towards the back as well, so.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where the card game is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And there is also a door in that back wall that a couple people seem to be going in and out of on occasion. And the barkeep had denied anything was going on back there.
There's probably no easy way for me to get in there, aside from wild shape.
Turning into a spider, yes. In front of everyone.
Yeah.
Just find a phone booth to change into, like Superman.
Yeah, there you go.
There gotta be one. I mean, come on.
I need the other one to get on the ship.
They gotta be on every corner.
So, if you're heading towards the back there with Felgrin, Rian, they're at the bar. As you kind of situate yourself between a couple of the crusty barflies, the man immediately on your left, kind of with a shot glass of sort of orange amber colored liquid in hand, is kind of eyeballing you. You're with the devil?
Like what?
And he
With is a very strong word.
Yeah.
I'd say acquaintances is more apt there.
Right. You, tell him to watch out here in town, eh?
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, you don't often see folk like that. People might get ideas.
What type of ideas are you talking about? 'Cause I know this is a nice little town. I can't imagine someone would want to hurt someone around here. You all seem like a nice bunch.
Gives a very non-committal shrug and a chuckle, and shoots back his drink. And at that time, the barkeep kind of slides in with his mustache and leans across towards you. So you have the look of somebody used to the open sea. Did you just come in on the icebreaker?
Aye, yep, just came in an icebreaker. Like serving aboard, delivering some packages here and there. But yeah, just fishing and trying to get by, my friend.
delivering packages. You know who you're delivering to?
Yeah, I got a few names, but fortunately, I think there might be one around here, but I don't know his name. Maybe actually you know something about that. You know anybody around here that might, it's a pale man with a ring. Perhaps a ring, maybe magical? Something along those lines. The best information we had on this one.
Gets a thoughtful look on his face and kind of scratches the side of his nose.
Or maybe a pale man that seems cold every time. I know it's cold here all the time, but maybe uncharacteristically cold.
Well, give me some time to mull that over, and I might come up with something. What are you delivering?
Honestly, most of our objects are meant to be kept under wraps, as far as we don't even know what most of them are. But as far as this one, it's just a wooden box or something, I imagine. There's a weird little fella that was doing it, so it's probably more of those, one of those, what do you call it, sentimental items.
Ah, well, here I was thinking you might have been my own delivery, but it doesn't sound like,
Well, it depends. What's your name? Maybe you're on here.
Name's Harold. I'm waiting for a letter of sorts.
Letter.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't think. Do we have anything for a herald with a letter? We had a letter, but it was for
Griggle?
The envelope was for Griggle. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you definitely don't have any letter for Harold.
No, that might be one of my other associates, though. See, we're technically supposed to still be on the boat, and you know how it is. You can't stay on there all damn day. You got to go out, spend a little coin, have yourself a good night. Like, I'm sure you appreciate that. If we'd been staying on deck, we wouldn't have been able to, we wouldn't be able to buy drinks from you.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to sneak off. Actually, we've got a man in here who's also from the Icebreaker. Got here just a few minutes before you did. Or your friends, anyway. And he points towards a table in the corner where a skinny man in a striped shirt is currently deep in his cups with a couple of local crusty fare.
Yeah, that's good info. But I appreciate it. Yeah, could I get myself? I don't know. You got yourself just an ale, a good ale. What do you recommend as far as that goes?
Well, for a fellow man of the sea, I could really only recommend the Mariner's Ale.
The Mariner's Ale. That
yeah.
sounds fancy.
It's
But
really not. But if you're looking
yeah, I was
to,
gonna say, lean into like, as a man of the sea, I probably wouldn't want anything fancy. Well, I'll take that, sure. He's like, buy my friend here, and he points to the crusty guy. He's like, buy my friend here a shot of whatever he's having there.
Alright. For the pair of them, a silver. And he turns around to start pouring you something.
Nice. And he'll throw him a couple extra silver when he pays, and he'll be like, do you happen to remember about that man with the ring there?
Can't say that I know of anyone of such a description in these parts. But if you're talking about a cold man, there is a dragonborn lives on the edge of town.
Interesting. Well, good. Okay.
Yeah. You said you didn't have a name?
Unfortunately, I don't. There's the damnedest thing. There's a little creature that he just made smells. Never met anything like that? Never seen it in my life. Just made funky little smells to try to communicate with you. Never seen nothing like it.
You're yanking my chain.
I am not. I've seen some strange things. Some very, very strange things. But this one was, he was almost like, he was like a little lizardly fella. So maybe Dragonborn's a good way to go. But no, that's good. I greatly appreciate that. That's some information I could probably use. And he points kind of over to the skinny guy. He's like, do you say he's on the Icebreaker, correct?
He is, yes.
Okay.
That Dragonborn, you want to be asking for Glarth Druma.
Glarth Druma. Okay. I'll remember that.
Weird fellow, kind of scarred.
Scarred fella, eh?
Doesn't interact much with folk around town.
I think he'd take the flagon and kind of raise it to him, and then the crusty old guy kind of give him a pat on the shoulder as he walks away. And I think he's going to post up, like, somewhere close by to the skinny guy and sip his ale, just trying to see if he can listen, but also keep an eye on that back room as best he can at the same time, just to make sure no fires break out back there.
In that event, roll me perception.
Sure thing. Accidentally rolled perception instead of persuasion last time. So technically, it'd been one number higher. But between a 20 and a 21, I ain't gonna argue.
Oh,
snap!
Nicely done.
Nice,
So as you,
natty.
Yeah, natty. So 22.
Yep, natty 20.
As you post up at the wall near where the skinny striped-shirted fellow is sitting, doesn't seem to be talking about anything of great importance. He had already been off the icebreaker when the quote-unquote fire broke out. Otherwise, you imagine that would probably be the topic of conversation throughout the entire tavern. Doesn't seem that word has reached this place yet. Mostly talking about his travels. Seems to be sharing news of Luskin.
Okay.
Passing around a few names as if these people know one another. Like, yeah, well, my wife, Rebecca, she's been, there with the children, and so long as she doesn't find out about, Missy up in the next port, there's a reason I chose the sailor's life. And he raises his drink, and the others are kind of like, raising alongside with him. The sort of boys talk that just does not feel good sometimes. But
yeah, I remember Rian's just like heavy eye roll, like, oh, Jesus.
Something that you, being a sailor, are quite familiar with, the concept of a wife in every port.
Yeah.
In this case, seems to be every other port. But that back room, as you're kind of like half following this conversation that just has nothing worthwhile in it, watching the people going in and out, you are starting to notice a pattern. Of those that head down, a couple are of the burlier builds, and of those coming up, several come out of the door and seem to be sporting some new bruises. Maybe wiping a bit of a bloody nose on a handkerchief or trying to cover a torn sleeve.
That's why he didn't talk about it.
Because it's the first rule. Everybody knows the first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
Yes.
So, Felgrin and Dreamer, while Rian is staying at the bar and talking to the same barkeep you had earlier, and then seems to post himself up to follow a couple of the conversations about the bar, you approach the table in the back. There is a game going between 4 men at a table that can clearly sit about 6 or 7. And from the cheers and the groans that rise from the table on your approach, get the impression that a round of cards has just finished. You see one human kind of throw down his hands and very reluctantly shove a pile of coppers over across the table, while the tiefling there is like, gentlemen, reaching across and sort of scooping the winnings towards him. And there's a nice pile there, mostly coppers. He's got, a couple of silvers and a small stack of about 10 fat gold coins off to one side. Gentlemen, I assure you my luck never runs this good. And they just kind of, fuck. What are you doing?
I think he's gonna... Are they getting ready to play another hand?
As you watch and sort of hover over the table, you do see that one of the men has gathered up all the cards and is in the process of shuffling. And there seems to be a discussion about that very thing.
If they do, he's going to spectate for this hand.
Alright.
Specifically the tiefling.
Yeah.
So roll me a perception check.
I am sure that his luck never is this
I have a good +0. So, yes,
Perception?
this will go well.
Huh.
Alright.
Ooh, yeah,
All right.
buddy, natty
I
4.
notice everything.
So good. I know this.
He seems
So deals out. Man kind of deals out a hand of cards. Everyone seems to get about 5. And looking from one face to another, but keeping your eyes specifically on the tiefling, you do see, now that you're a little closer, this sort of ruddy, yellow-green tiefling with slick black horns that rest along his bald scalp, pointing towards the back, is glancing up at you and just kind of gives you a wink as he looks back at the cards in his hand. Seems legit as they play this hand.
That wink is
Dreamer,
suspect.
You, with your decent passive perception, seem to pick up that there is a growing undercurrent of resentment in the people at the table towards this winning individual.
Okay.
Liddy.
I don't do anything about that.
Alright. So, a couple minutes go by, and again, there seemed to be a collective, almost sinking of despair, or sinking into despair of the people sitting at the table. And you hear one guy, the same man who had thrown down his hand, sort of slams this new one down on the table in front of him and pushes his chair back and stands up and thrusts a finger at the tiefling. This is fucking bullshit. Mr. Deal, I guarantee you this is cheating. I don't know how you're doing it. I need my money. And you see this tiefling sort of lace his fingers together and glancing at his cards and then back at the man thrusting a finger in his face. I don't know what you're talking about, friend. This is just a card game. Now, you've seen me lose on many nights. How could I possibly be responsible for your losses tonight? What are you guys?
Do you have proof?
And this man who's kind of like standing angrily over this very like eerily calm tiefling kind of looks at you.
He just raises his eyebrows.
What, are you with this guy?
Oh, goodness. Not all tieflings know each other. I'm just saying, if you have no proof that he's cheating and you claim that he is, that is a faux pas, my man.
No one is that lucky.
I beg to differ. Come on, sit down, your luck will change.
Roll me persuasion.
Hey, I'm good at that. Let's see if it continues. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Alright, 14 for 20.
The
Nice.
most persuasive letter ever in the world.
Yep, you're up there. I only got a +3.
So your interruption seems to have stymied some of his anger, and he does reluctantly take his seat, but you can see he is just glaring daggers at this tiefling here. Well, it's always good to meet a fellow... What's a good word for it? Charmer. You seem that type.
That is a good word.
And charmed to meet you. I'm Mr. Deal.
Felgrin. I'll hold a hand out, shake it.
And he clasps it. And his hands are weirdly dry, almost powdery. And taking your hand away, you do see that there is almost like a gray dust on your palm. I would say make me a Arcana check.
Oh, crap. I'm not good at this either. Yeah, alright.
What'd you roll?
21. 19 plus 2.
21.
Nice.
On rocks.
So,
Rolling rocks today.
you aren't particularly familiar with what this powder could be. You are, however, aware that there are a number of spells that might require such a material.
Such as?
Specifically, it makes you think of the powdered iron that you would need for enlarge or reduce. Though you can see nothing on his person that is grossly too large or small at this table.
It's because it's in his sleeve. Or something, I'm not certain.
Yep, could be another sorcerer like you doing a little magical hoodoo.
little hoodoo.
Little hoodoo, what you do, know what I'm saying?
So,
Next
are
character,
you
doing a Cajun.
So, are you gonna be joining this hand? Don't leave these fine gentlemen waiting.
Dreamer sips from his shot glass.
Just a little sip.
Just the tiniest
Little
drip.
baby sip.
Real loud. It's like...
Why not? I'll sit down.
Excellent. Alright, so from you, as cards are being dealt, I am going to need you to, on Foundry, in the drop down for the chat, I want you to do a blind GM roll.
Okay.
And I need you to roll me 3 d20s. If you're proficient with a set of playing cards, then you will be doing that with proficiency.
Nope.
Nope.
Disguise kit,
Alright.
forgery kit.
So in this case, you are going to be giving me an intelligence check. So 3 intelligence checks for this card game.
Okay. That's not ideal.
Yeah, that's right. We don't have any smart people on this team, do we? That's not great. Natty 3.
Shut up.
They're
Oh, shit.
bli-
I'm
they're
so
bli-
sorry.
they're blind
I'm,
rolls.
I'm an idiot.
I'll just go ahead and roll 3 more.
I'm such... Sorry, I'm thinking it's an audio thing. I wanted to...
No, it's all right. We'll get into these in a moment. All right. So straight off, the card game, as it is briefly explained to the rest of the table, who seem to be kind of like waving it off, like, we understand the rules. This is obviously something that they play on the regular. But as they're explained to you, you realize you have no idea what you're playing or what you've sat down at.
Good.
And
Good stuff.
the bets that people push towards the center of the table seems to be a stack of 10 copper. But looking you over, the yellow-green skinned tiefling seems to pause for a moment and then says, well, why don't we make this interesting, gentlemen? How does 5 silver sound as a means to help our new friend fill his pockets? There's kind of some hemming and hawing around the table, but what about you?
Why not?
Alright. So you can add 5 silver to the pot from your 10 coppers that were initially put out there. And as the pile in the center grows a little larger, now that nice shiny silver color, the hand goes by very fast, and even before the game is over, you realize that you have made a terrible mistake. You are the first one out with a roll of a natural 1.
So, now that I'm out, I feel I can speak freely.
Wait until everyone else is
I
done
don't
with their
think I
hand.
will.
Everyone at the table kind of giving you an eye. They're eyeballing you as they continue to play. But, Dreamer, as you are kind of overseeing the rest of the table, you're just watching casually, you recognize that in the moment where everyone is just kind of like eyeballing Felgrin and wondering as if what is he yammering on about, you see very, very quickly Mr. Deal across the table from you slip a card into his sleeve that seems to disappear in his palm as he does so,
I knew it.
and draw out what looks to be a little slip of paper that grows into another card that he adds to his hand. This would not be something that Felgrin casually notices, but you do.
I will instantly turn and lock eyes on him
With Mr. Deal,
with Mr. Deal.
and he kind of seems to notice your shift in attention and kind of meets your gaze briefly, looks at his cards, and then offers you a broad smile and gives you a wink. Gentlemen, are we going to continue this hand?
No, I don't think we will, and I'll tell you why. I'd like to first extend an apology to you, my friend, as you were right. This man is a cheater, and I'll tell you how he's doing it. I am convinced that he has cards up his sleeve right now
As you say that, Mr. Deal's expression doesn't really seem to change. You, Dreamer, do catch the twitch of irritation at the corner of his mouth, and the sort of burly fellow who'd been on his feet yelling at him earlier is now turning his head so slowly you can almost hear the tendons in his neck creaking to stare at this yellow-skinned tiefling. That true?
Can confirm.
And Mr. Deal, seeming to sense that things are turning on him, sort of sits back from the table. Well, I think that maybe I've been playing a little too much this evening. Clearly, things are getting heated, and I don't want to be in trouble with the watch, so I'll just take my winnings.
I don't think
and
so. I think you can leave them on the table, or I'll leave you on the floor.
Ooh.
Roll an intimidation check.
Okay.
So you gotta be pretty good at this, too.
Oh, that's blind.
Ah, that is a 23.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Yeah, you could switch off blind
Just
now.
rolling the rocks. It's crazy.
So even though you were terrible at this game that you've never played before, understandably
You
so,
can stare some daggers with those yellow eyes.
Yep, that's good.
yeah, you can stare some daggers, and you do see Mr. Deal kind of, as he is preparing to scoop all the coins on the table towards himself, his arm stops, and very slowly lifts his hand away from them. I think I should probably be going.
It's a good choice.
It was good to play with you again, gentlemen. And he stands up and starts to make his way out, and you watch as the man who had been yelling at him previously is kind of looking around the table at the others, and then kind of tips his head in the direction that the tiefling had gone. And those at the table who remain start putting their winnings into their pouches. Well, it was good meeting you, friend. Good to know that not all devils are so dishonest.
Of course.
I think we're going to, catch up with our friend and have a conversation.
Oh, well, don't get too carried away now. We wouldn't want you getting arrested.
You have your coin. There is no need for further action.
We're just going for a chat.
I do not believe you.
You don't say, Dreamer.
I don't care what you believe. As he finishes packing up his remaining coin, because he had obviously been losing for a good deal of the night, and as the others finish as well, they all push their chairs back, stand up, and start walking past you towards the entrance.
Listen, friends. I did you a favor, would you say?
Roll me a persuasion check at disadvantage, because as they are heading out, you do kind of catch that almost murderous gleam in their eye.
Oh no.
Oh, that is a crit fail. Oh, man.
So, hardly seem to notice that you're there anymore now that they kind of have their target. And this group of men do march out the front doors, letting in a cold breeze off the street as the door swings shut behind them.
Well, I tried. I'm sure he'll be fine. He kind of gathers up his coins.
Yeah.
I will say, make a investigation check.
Oh, these guys are gonna get their ass kicked, aren't they? Oh my god, I'm so terrible.
A 3?
Yep. Next 3.
You know, things are, you're able to collect your coins. You do notice, as you are sort of regathering what you had previously put out on the table as your bet, there's only 3 silver and 5 copper remaining.
Oh, you got shaft.
Is this something he notices? Or not?
Say, this is something you
Okay,
notice.
He's gonna stride towards the door.
He's so